Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today we're going to be making salmon burgers or like sliders. In a bowl I have some leftover salmon. It's like almost like an Asian glazed salmon. I got it from Sprouts. It was already marinated. I just popped it into the oven and these are the leftovers. I have about 6 ounces here. Now in a blender I have a piece of bread and I'm just going to make fresh breadcrumbs because I don't have any panko breadcrumbs on hand or any breadcrumbs, so I'm just gonna make fresh ones. So I'm gonna pop it into my food processor and kind of just blend it until there are fine crumbs. Beautiful. Now in a saute pan I have 1 tablespoon of butter. I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of oil, and I'm going to add 1 cup of diced onions, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and 1 tablespoon of pureed ginger. And we're going to saute this up along with 1 cup of diced red bell peppers. That's great. So we're going to soften them up and cook until the onions are translucent, maybe a little bit brown, and once the red bell peppers are softened as well. Now once they're softened and brown and caramelized, I'm going to remove them off the heat. Now into the bowl with the flaked salmon, I have let this cool down to room temperature and I'm going to add all of that in. I have 1/3 of a cup of green onions, I have 1/3 of a cup of cilantro, and 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. We're gonna add all of that in. I'm going to add 1 egg that I just beat lightly. I added 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and I added 1.5 tablespoons of mayo. Now I'm going to mix all of this together. And if the mixture is too wet, you can add more breadcrumbs. If it's too dry, you can add more mayo. So I'm just gonna mix this well. So I just added 1/2 cup more of breadcrumbs and I'm gonna mix this. And I added another 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. I'm gonna mix this well. I think the onions and red bell peppers, I kind of sauteed them and added the liquid. So that's why it's a little bit more wet. Better consistency. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more breadcrumbs. So that's another 1/4 of a cup. Mix this well. And might as well just add like the last bit, which is another 1/4 of a cup. Okay, that's a lot better. Now I'm gonna make these into patties and fry them up. Now in the same pan that I was frying the onions and bell peppers in, I made our patties, put some oil, and I'm gonna let it fry until they're nice and brown. Now a few minutes on each side. How beautiful does that look? And then a couple more minutes on the other side. Leaving them, I have a plate lined with some paper towels and that's where I'm going to place these patties in. And now we are going to make our sauce. I have a mini avocado here. I'm going to remove the pits. Kind of slice within the avocado and then scoop it out into a bowl. So I put in both halves of the avocado. I have 1/4 of a cup of mayo, 1/4 of a cup of sour cream, 1 tablespoon of milk, 2 teaspoons of the caper brine, 1 and 2. Roughly 2 tablespoons of chopped capers, 1/8 of a teaspoon of black pepper. Now we're going to mix this together. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of white vinegar, 1 and 2. 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, a pinch of salt, and then you really want to get in there with a fork and kind of mash it so it's kind of a smooth consistency. You can take up adding 1/4 teaspoon of dill. Now to assemble our burgers, this part's totally optional, but to bring that Asian glazed component that was in the salmon, I'm going to use this Buffalo Wild Wings Asian zing sauce, and I'm going to put a squirt of it on each patty, and then using a brush, just brush over that with, so it's like a glaze almost, and it'll bring that component from the salmon into the burgers as well. So I'm going to do that with the rest of the patties. I have these sweet Hawaiian slider buns. They're from Pepperidge Farm. I am going to take some of the sauce and put it on the bottom. Just a light layer because we're also going to put some on the top. Take one of the burger salmon patties. I ended up putting some lettuce on the bottom and then a dollop of that sauce that we made, and then we just top it. Look how beautiful they look. I hope you guys try it out and enjoy them. Assalamualaikum.